Welcome to Work Reborn, live from Barcelona, brought to you by Lenovo. Work Reborn is a research series surveying over 600 senior IT leaders worldwide to uncover the key to creating a productive digital workplace. Last report, we talked about using AI to work smarter and stay safer. Now we're moving from AI readiness to AI reality, where technology and human connection are reshaping how we work and thrive in this new era of work, or as we like to call it, Work Reborn. Let's get started. Hey, Bakul, how are you doing today?
You're doing well. How about you?
Good. It's Bakul, right?
Bakul, you got it right.
Awesome. Well, I really appreciate you coming by our podcast booth today. Do you mind introducing yourself, who you are, your company, what you do?
Sure thing, and thank you for having me. I'm Bakul Banthia. I'm one of the co-founders of Tessell. We are a 4.5-year-old startup, a Series B company.
Wow.
We raised Series B earlier this year, funded by Lightspeed Ventures and Westbridge Capital.
Congratulations on
Thank
that.
you very much. Yeah. And we do database as a service. I myself have been in this domain, data management and database management, for almost 17 years now.
Wow.
Started my journey at Oracle, worked there for 10 years, and yeah, it's been going absolutely fantastic.
That's so interesting. I love to talk to founders because I find that, especially in the tech space, it's really cool to hear that blend of the technical expertise with also the business expertise as well,
Yeah.
too. Talk to me a little bit about what inspired you to start this company.
There were two things actually. We look at Amazon RDS as our inspiration. They have done beautifully well in the cloud. They started in 2009. And when we were starting this company, it was to 2021, there was an email from Andy Jassy, who was then AWS CEO, but was going to become Amazon CEO. He sent out a company-wide email saying the company, Amazon or AWS as a company, has been growing 28% year over year, but it's still so hard to believe that less than 5% of global IT is in the cloud. And these are not just numbers he made up, there were reports backing it. What that told us was 95% of the companies are still not on the cloud, whereas cloud is the way to go. Why is that? And when we looked at it much more deeper, realized, okay, there are challenges, there are friction. That's what Andy was trying to say. There are
Yeah.
friction points to move to the cloud. And one of the most difficult applications or entities to move to the cloud are databases,
Yeah.
which is what I know, right? What we know. And then we started looking at the challenges, and that's what sort of paved the way for Tessell, saying, okay, how do we solve these pain points for people who want to modernize their data and databases to the cloud, but they are facing challenges?
That is exceptionally well said. And I think that it ties well into the main point of the conversation that we have today, which is now the cloud isn't necessarily the new news anymore, but it's still an integral part in any IT, architecture or strategy. And we did a work study where we interviewed over 600 senior IT leaders, and the results were fascinating. We found that on average, enterprises are managing about 897 applications across multiple clouds. We have a whole sky of apps now, right? But only 28% have integrated. So, where do you see the biggest opportunity to reduce the fragmentation that we're seeing in digital workspaces now? And what actually will work to create more connected systems, in your personal opinion?
Yeah, you're right. I mean, there's a large volume of applications. And, one of the data points probably is whatever you see on the cloud, there's as 10 times more sitting on premises. And it's just a proliferation that has happened. Now, how do you consolidate? That's one of the things. The second, as you're consolidating, you also want to modernize. You don't want to be doing the same things that you were doing earlier, right? You want to do it the newer way, the smarter way. And AI has definitely shown a way that, wherever there is a messy problem, complex problem, you can use that. But you have to be smart to use it, because otherwise it's garbage in, garbage out. And then there are all these legacy applications. How do you handle those? They still need a lot of handholding. They need to be some companies or some leaders. They cannot change them. They are just unmodifiable.
Or
Where
maybe it's just like we've been using this forever.
yeah,
It's going to take way too much to try to
you
do something
it's
else.
it started 30 years ago.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
so complex, and it's like one of the Jenga towers. You
yeah.
move one piece, it might fall. You always
Right.
have that fear. So how do you manage that? And versus modern applications, if you're building something new, greenfield, then of course you want to be using the latest and greatest of the technology. So that's always the an internal tussle. Imagine at the highest level that how do I may take care of my legacy stuff and also modernize at the same time. And that's where I think we are headed. Probably AI is a great sort of problem solver for this.
And your analogy of the Jenga tower, I think, is the best that I've heard it so far because I think the legacy apps or pieces are probably at the bottom of that tower. And I think AI is poking holes
Yeah.
at the way that we've built the tower
Yeah.
now. And leaders are, like you said, they're afraid to like pull out one
Yeah.
portion. But I do think the leaders that will excel and succeed, surely ones like you, are the ones who aren't afraid to make that strategic
Yes.
approach, pulling the right block out of the
Yeah.
Jenga tower so it doesn't fall, but we're actually building on top of it.
Yeah. That's the approach. So it has to be very strategically done, carefully done, meticulously done, right?
Yeah.
And you have to have redundancies. You have to have fail safe. A lot of testing. You have to have backups, the disaster recovery enabled, everything. You have to think of so many things before you execute something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think there's another part of this. Let's talk about the Jenga tower more just because it's
Yeah.
helpful, right?
It's nice.
So it used to be that we were manually putting blocks on the Jenga tower, but now we have the ability to automate so much. So I'm imagining like a Jenga tower manually building itself,
Yeah.
right? And, as our operations are becoming more automated, I feel that, CIOs and CTOs are really redefining what the success actually looks like. Does it matter how many blocks we're adding or how tall the tower is? Is it how quick we're building the tower, right?
Yeah.
So, really, what I'm trying to get at is performance metrics now and the way we assess how successful our proof of concept plans are or our beta tests are. I think the standards are changing. So in your opinion, how are you rethinking performance metrics in this new era, and what matters more now than it did even just a year ago?
Yeah, that's a great question, right? Because you have to be always in an analysis mode. I mean, that's the thing about AI. You are analyzing and analyzing it. It's a master of analysis, and you have a lot of data at your behest. And how do you use it to your advantage? Now, probably what we do, I like to call crawl, walk, run methodology, or you can say crawl, walk, run, and fly. Maybe you have to apply something similar. You start small, start somewhere where you can easily measure, it's quantifiable. Take a portion which is much more, it's not a lot of disruptive, right? Less disruptive, but also you will see a lot of value immediately. Start there and you take it to the perfection or maybe near perfection. Let's say you have KPIs and then repeat, right?
Mm.
So, and then when you repeat, you expand the scale, you increase the scale. And that sort of gives you a very well-defined path to move forward. And you might start slow. You might feel that, oh, there's so much to do, but that's a proof of concept you said, right? How do you do that? I mean, identifying that piece where I can measure and act and actually produce results and evaluate at the end is extremely important. It's very subjective from company to company, from business to business, from
Right.
function to function, right? I mean, in technology, as a product development company, for a product development, there could be a different KPI, whereas something in sales could be different, something in
Right.
HR could be very different.
Even in retail,
Retail
like,
could
yeah.
extremely different. I mean, I can only speak to so many.
Right, right,
It's
right.
very subjective,
Right.
but someone has to take that ownership, take the leadership to think as a strategic thinker for that organization. What is that piece do I start crawling with, and then eventually walk and run and then fly?
No, that's so well said because, like, I think the sentiment amongst many leaders in IT is, well, how are we going to measure success of this new product, new service, AI, whatever it is, if, we don't know how to measure it? But you're saying like, well, until we try,
Yes,
how will we know?
exactly. Yeah. So don't look at the whole landscape. Otherwise it's going to be an insurmountable task. You have to do it in batches, and you have to be smart about that.
But isn't that what technology is all about? The
Yeah.
brave person that decides, you
Yeah.
know what, I'm gonna try and we're gonna see what
Yeah.
happens and we're gonna iterate.
Yeah. It's trailblazing, right? At the end
Yeah.
of the day, it's a lot of it is trailblazing, and when you are doing that, it can be lonely out there, but you are never alone, right? That's what you have to think about it. Yeah, you
You
always.
got to listen to this podcast to find the buddies who will back you up,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Because we all have the same idea.
Yes.
The leaders and the trailblazers that are taking us into this new era
Yes.
of
Yes.
work. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much, Bakul, for being on this podcast with me. I really enjoyed hearing about your journey and what your thoughts are on, really this next era of work. And if anyone is interested in learning more about the Work Reborn report, or stay tuned to this podcast, make sure you check out the link in the description below. And if you're watching us on YouTube, you can scan the QR code on the screen here to grab a full copy of the Work Reborn research report. And that's a wrap. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Appreciate it, and happy holidays.
Happy holidays. Yeah, it will be the holidays when this comes out. That's great. Thank you, everyone. Bye. Thanks for tuning in to Work Reborn, powered by Lenovo. Lenovo is turning readiness into reality, empowering people, technology, and businesses to move forward together. If you've enjoyed this episode, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel or follow us on Apple or Spotify to continue the conversation on how we're bringing new life to the modern workplace. Thanks for watching.
Lenovo.